All right, guys, here I am again. 2 videos in a week. Come on, come on. Drop a like for that. So this video is gonna be part one of my masking masterclass because I thought, okay, I'm gonna do one video covering everything, but it's gonna be too long, and I kind of separated between like this first video is gonna be just about power windows, and then the next video is gonna be like qualifiers, magic mask, all those other type of selections that we can use besides the power window tab. So in this video, I'll be covering everything you need to know about power windows. So let's jump right in. All right, here we are in the color page in the power window tab. And first of all, let's just try to break it down. How can you use, and I'm not actually talking about where to click, how to configure everything. No, I'm talking about the types of scenarios that doing power windows are going to help you. So for me, the most important one, not the most important one, but the one that gets more results out of it is when you're trying to use the power windows to guide the viewer's eyes. Okay, that's one. We are going to talk about that a little bit more after. But the second one is when you're going to use the power windows to help you matching. How come? Let's say, for example, that you're grading like a short film or whatever, and then in one scene you have a super bright side, like the right side of your scene is super bright. But in the next shot, they're like this kind of the same place, but it's not as bright, or if it's too dark, you can use power windows for that as well to help you match the scene cuts. Because sometimes if you have like a super bright thing on the right, and then it cuts to the next scene, it feels a little bit off. So, okay, that's one more. And the last one is when you're trying to fix or improve something. It kind of correlates with the guiding the viewer's eyes, but it's actually, for example, when you do a mask on the face to a little bit of pop, that kind of situation. So with that being said, okay, let's jump right in and take a look how we can use this tab. By the way, I had a comment of one of my followers on Instagram when I dropped the video about masking. And they said, well, my mentor told me that you should never use masks because it gets difficult to match with the other scenes and those kind of stuff. I mean, well, that's actually true, but it's actually not true as well. Because I feel like when you're doing like long things, like 30-minute, 1 hour, and they're more simple thing, well, that's true. But if you're doing like a commercial or a few shots for something, a music video, I feel like if you have this mentality, it's kind of a lazy mentality. I mean, man, you gotta do what you gotta do, in order to look the best it can. So, yeah, that's my opinion on that. By the end of it, it's really up to you. Okay, so here we are in the Power Window tab. It's right here. You go to your color page, and then you have this tab right here. So in here, as you can see, we can create a bunch of masks, okay? So this first one is the linear one, okay? It's like a pre-formatted. The second one is the circle. And then we have the polygon. And then we have the curve one, which is you're the one who's gonna make the draw. So you're gonna kind of drawing how you want to do this mask. And the last one is the gradient one of my favorites. And this means like from here to here, it's 100% your change. And from here to here, it's gonna be a soft 100 to 0, okay? So it's literally a gradient type of mask. Okay, with that being said, these are the commands that you have on your disposal. So you have the size, the aspect. A good tip for the aspect, sometimes people get lost on where to drag. So think about it, if you drag to the right, you're making horizontal. Just remember that. Sort of a stretching. So when you drag to the right, you're going to be changing the aspect horizontally. And then, of course, to the left, you're going to be making like a vertical. So this is to adjust the pen, and tilt is to adjust the position. The rotate, of course, you're going to rotate your mask, and the opacity is sort of the global blend, I'm going to say, the opacity of your selection, okay? In here you have softness. As you can see, there's only one here because this is the circle mask. But if you, let's say, use, for example, the linear one, you have more types of softness, you see? A good thing to know is when you create, for example, let's say like this, let's make it smaller, and you like this, you're doing a project and you're doing this a lot, so you can click right here in the three dot and save as new preset, and then you type whatever face, let's say face 1, and then if you in another shot and you want to do this, you just click right here and you click face, and then the same exact mask is going to pop up. This is really good. So we have a few other controls here that you need to know. So this is the inverter. So when you invert this, your selection is going to be everything but the circle. To make sure you check that, you can see this icon right here, which is the highlight. If you click, it's going to highlight everything that you're selecting. So you see, because we inverted, we are seeing everything but the face, okay? And if we invert again, like not invert, go back, you're going to see just the face, okay? So yeah, in terms of the type of maskings that we have in here in this page, it's not that much. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the situations that you're going to use. So let's say, for example, I did a quick grade on this, like nothing crazy, just transform to DaVinci White Gamut and then to Rec 709, put a little bit of grain, put a little bit of a contrast. What is this? Okay. Yeah, just adjust the exposure and a little bit of contrast, balance, saturation. So a really important thing that I highly recommend is that when you're doing those type of masks, like even if you're like guiding the viewer's eyes, if you're doing all these three types that I've said we can use with the power windows, I highly recommend you do this in the parallel nodes. Okay, why? Because as you guys know or not, parallels, they work like sort of at the same time and they have the same input. So the mask that I'm going to do right here is going to have this input, and same as this and this and this. So if you do all your masks in this parallel mixer, all of them are going to be working at the same time. So, just make sure if you're doing a lot of masking, just try to do as much as you can on a parallel, so that way they don't overlap each other that easy. So, okay, let's take a look at this image and see what we can do. Use some example, nothing crazy. So, yeah, we can try to do, sorry, with one hand, I couldn't plug this microphone on my jacket. But, okay. Of course, I told you guys that you have the transform thing, but you can always adjust using your mouse, which sometimes is better. For example, in here, we can do a vignette. Again, we did the selection. We want to invert that in order to do a vignette. So let's do that. And then we can just push a little bit the offset, or I don't know, the gain or whatever. Always make sure we're not clipping anything yet. But yeah, one thing that I always suggest my students as well, if you're not like visualizing clearly, you can just click on another node and do a before and after with the node that you're doing the change. Okay, sorry, let me do this one more time. You see? Or you can still be in the node, go right here and put off, because in here you were saying, hey, show me the power window on my UI. Okay, so you can go off and then do the before and after. Okay. All right. So this is one option. Sometimes instead of doing vignettes, because I had a few directors that don't actually like vignettes, so instead of doing that, what you can do is actually do two gradients like this. Instead of an entire circle mask, you do a vignette, but just on the sides. For example, like this. I'm going to push my offset down and I'm gonna drag to see. So let's see a before and after, just on one side. And if you somehow want to add another one of these in the same node, that gradient is already going to have the same color change that you did in the previous one, of course. Okay, so this one already going to have the less offset as we changed in the first selection. But yeah, okay, so it's like this, just on the edges instead of being a circle thing. Again, you can choose the highlight to see where are you affecting. So we don't want to affect our face. We want to be as close as we can. Something like this might be okay. Yeah. All right. So people use this to guide. Of course, this was already well guided, I would say, in terms of where are you looking at. But I kind of like it, to be honest. I really like it, actually. But yeah, okay. That was gradients, one of my favorites. Give it a try, okay? There is a lot of options that you can use the gradient in order to guide the viewer's eyes, okay? So the help matching that I said, let's say, for example, that this shot, let me delete this one. And instead of making it dark, let's make brighter. No, offset. Let's do it with like this. Random, okay? And then let's say it cuts to a close-up of her from here, and this side is not as bright. So you're gonna go into the next shot and do something like this to make it as bright. So this was the second option that we were talking about when you're trying to match the previous scene, okay? And then the last one we have when you're trying to improve something or like make it pop. So we can do a circular here, just an example. And then I'll actually use here. And then go to your tracking. And if you're on clip, you can click right here, track forward and reverse. It works insanely amazing. Okay, guys, the tracking on the DaVinci Resolve, it's pretty good. You can trust it. And if you're tracking your masks and it's not super good, you can just click on frame and adjust the auto tracking. Always try the auto tracking. Every time it looks good, but if it doesn't, make sure to adjust here in the frame, and you should be good. You can just drag and it will create a keyframe right here. Got it? Really, really easy. So yeah, let's try to do a pop a little bit here. Maybe we want to increase the brightness. Let me see how it looks like this. Again, I'm using this tool right here, guys, the highlight mode, so you can actually see. I don't want to pop too much, right? It's just an example. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good. Let me try something else here just to make sure it's looking the best it can. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I have another one here. Oh, there's doing nothing. My bad. Okay. So yeah, this was one of the situations that you can use to improve or fix something. I'll definitely talk about this last technique more when in the next part when you're talking about magic mask and qualifier. So yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that. It's probably my next video. So I'll try to do this week still. But yeah, I think I'll be able to do this week. Just make sure to stay tuned. Let me see what else. Okay, so let me try just a few other uses. So in this image right here, let's just, okay, I didn't do any grade right here. Let me just try to do something really quick. So this is, I just did the CSTs, IDT and ODT. This is a DJI, okay? Our signal is a little bit to the bottom, so I'm just gonna move a little bit to the top and balance. Oops, sorry guys, I did this in the IDT, my bad. Oop. Okay, So move to the top and then balance a little bit. I don't want to be as bright. Okay, nothing crazy. Looks good. Let me see the balance, how it is. It's kind of warm, but I kind of like that, to be honest. Let me just try to make a little bit less warm. Okay, let me see before and after. Too much. Too much. Okay, kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let me just do some curves in order to balance the image before we use the other type of maskings that we have. Okay? For this image, as you saw on my posts probably on Instagram, I used a different, not super traditional type of masking. Usually people use like the circular and then the curve, which is the one that you draw the mask, and the gradient. I don't see a lot of people using the linear and polygon, but the linear, oops. But the linear, I really like it. I'll just need to give you guys some tips for it. So for example, if you put it right here, and then let's adjust to make the roll, okay? If you want to do a few adjustments in the roll to make it rollable, in the roll to make it pop, let's do something like this maybe. Yeah. And then we can change the aspect. Remember, to the right, you're making horizontal, and to the left, you're making vertical. Okay, so what's funny about this? If I let this mask the way it is and track it, this mask right here is locked in this row. So I'm just gonna track to so you guys can see. See, it's literally attached to the row that we draw. So in order to have a good tracking, you have to literally expand your mask. So increase the aspect a little bit more. Oh, it's the limit. We gotta do it by hand or type. So, oh, it's actually better to the top because it's going in there. Something like this. Should be good with this. So now if I track it, we have the data for the entire footage. Okay? So I would like to recommend you guys one more thing, which is really useful. For example, sometimes when you're doing a mask, you also want to have control in the inverted selection. So you can just copy this mask, paste right here and invert it, or you can literally select the mask and create an outside node out of this selection. So option O, that way you're going to create an outside node, or you can even click right here. Let me delete this. Or you can even click right here, add node, add outside. So what does that mean? Let's select the highlight mode in order for us to see what the mask is actually selecting. You see, the mask is only kind of selecting the road. Let's just open a little bit more. And the outside node is everything but the selection. Outside nodes are really helpful. Highly recommend you guys to use a little bit more. Okay? So yeah, let's try to do some adjustments here. I actually just want to take a little bit of my lights in here, my HDR tools, and then I'll go right here and push a little bit more. One thing that I like to mention, guys, is that masks are designed to be invisible. Let's put it like this. So when you're trying to do a mask, try to make it not as visible as you can. If the mask is not subtle, it's going to be visible that you pop the face. It's going to be visible that you have an outside key, making the outside of that selection a little darker. So always make sure to do a good amount of softness as much as you can, and don't push too much, okay? Otherwise it's going to be super visible. It's not going to look great, okay? What else? I'm trying to think, guys. This is freestyle, okay? Pure knowledge. There's nothing crazy here, guys. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think that was it in terms of power windows. Just look for guide the eye, look for fix or correct something or pop something like the faces that we were talking about, and also to match something. I think that was it. I'll see you guys in the next one about Magic Mask and qualifiers and some other things. If you really enjoyed this, please make sure to drop a like, subscribe. I'm trying my best here to make as much content as I can, guys. I'm currently in Abu Dhabi. I'm not even in my setup. I'll stay here till the end of January. And yeah, it's been a crazy experience to be here, guys. Let me know if you guys want to see me talking about this a little bit more. Yeah. See you guys in the next one.